Hello everyone, my name is GhostTSR and today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to install the Super Mario Odyssey practice mod, uninstall the practice mod, as well as use it to your advantage. This mod allows you to efficiently practice tricks, skips, and movement in Super Mario Odyssey in a more effective manner. Some of the notable features it has is the ability to warp to any location you want, any kingdom you want, save and loading positions, as well as reloading scenes to simulate an RTA setting. At this point in the video, you should have a hacked Switch set up with custom firmware. If you have not hacked your Switch yet, then click out of this video and check out the guide in the description on how to hack your Switch. Once you have hacked your Switch perfectly fine and it is running custom firmware as expected, you may proceed in the following tutorial where we will install the Super Mario Odyssey practice mod. In order to install the Super Mario Odyssey practice mod, you're going to need the following prerequisites. You're going to need a physical or digital copy of Super Mario Odyssey, specifically the 1.3 version. I've had issues with setting up the 1.0 version of Super Mario Odyssey, so in this tutorial we're going to be sticking with the 1.3 version. You're additionally going to need a Switch application called Simple Mod Manager by Nadrino, which allows you to load mods into games with ease. You're going to need FTBD by Mthal, which is essentially allowing you to run an FTP client on your Switch, which allows you to transfer files from your PC to your SD card with ease. And finally, you're going to need the official Super Mario Odyssey practice mod, which was originally developed by Fruity Loops, but has been enhanced by Monster Druid, Onwick Seltzar, and Tishel in the past year. This is also optional but not needed, but you are allowed to use an FTP client on your phone or computer, specifically FileZilla for example, but in this video I'm not going to be using FileZilla. I'm going to be teaching you how to use the FTP client built into Windows software, but if you want to use an FTP client like FileZilla, go ahead. It's just that this tutorial will not be showing you how to do that. Without further ado, let's begin the tutorial. Before we install the practice mod, you will need to remove any old versions you may have of the SMO practice mod in the past. To do this, turn off your Switch completely and eject your SD card and insert it into the computer. Once you're on the computer, access the Atmosphere folder and the Contents folder. The SMO Contents folder will be this folder which has zeros and ones only. From here, you can delete this folder and you are goodbye to the SMO Contents. Once again, go back into the Atmosphere folder, go into the EXEFS patches folder, and click on the SMO practice folder and delete that. From there, you have successfully removed the SMO practice mod and any of the old versions of the SMO practice mod from your computer as expected. Now that we have deleted the old contents of the SMO practice mod from the older versions, we're going to be installing FTPD so that we can drag the newer contents onto our SD card from our Switch. So while our SD card is inserted, go to the first link in the description, which will bring you to this website, FTPD. To install FTPD onto the Switch, go to the releases and click on it, and scroll all the way down until you see this file called ftpd.nro. Click on it, and you should see it install, and open it in your file explorer. You'd have it here, ftpd.nro. Now what we can do is right click on it, click on show more options, and click cut, and go to our Switch SD card, go into the Switch folder, right click, show more options, and click paste. Now that we have the application for FTPD on our SD card, we are free to eject the SD card. Once we eject the SD card, insert the SD card into the Switch, and we're going to be launching custom firmware from this point by inserting the RCM jig onto the right side of the Switch and plugging in the USB-C cable so that our Switch connects to the PC. From here, we're going to be pressing the plus button and the power button to launch into RCM mode and inject the payload through Tegra RCM GUI. And finally, we should be having our switch successfully launched into custom firmware. From here, you can put your switch into its docked mode, and I will see you guys on the switch. Alright, once you have launched the switch into custom firmware, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be launching the homebrew menu by clicking on the album. Once you're here, go to the right and click on FTPD Pro 3.1.0 and click A to launch. Now what will be displayed is a bunch of information on the FTPD client, which is your IP address and the port you're going to be connecting to. So the IP address is displayed in the square brackets as mentioned here, like here, and the port is right next to the IP address. So we're going to be going to the PC and connecting to that information. So we're going to turn on our PC since we already have it on. We're going to type in FTP:// and the IP address that was displayed, the colon, and the port it was connected to, which is 5000. Now we are connected successfully to the FTPD client, and now from here we have all the folders on our SD card. So if we actually go back to the switch, our FTPD client is already activated so that it is completely working with the PC and the switch. Now that we've established our connection to transfer files wirelessly from our SD cards, we're going to now actually install the SMO practice mod. So when we go back to our PC, go to the second link, which is the SMO practice mod, which will bring you to this website. Go to the releases, and at the time of recording this, the version that I am currently downloading is 1.0.1, but in the future, this version might actually update. So once you're here, click on the file that says atmospheres.zip and open up the download and right click on it and click extract here so that the files extract here. Now once we have this atmosphere folder, we're going to open this up, and we're also going to be opening up the IP server that we have opened up in our FTP client that we opened up in the other window. So here, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating 3 folders. So we're going to be right clicking, show more options, new folder, and we're going to be naming this mods. Then we're going to open up this folder. We're going to create another folder which says Super Mario Odyssey. We're going to open up this folder again and finally create the folder called Practice. You need to do this through FTPD, otherwise you're going to be getting errors when setting this up. So open up the Practice folder, and now we have these 2 folders, the Contents and EXEFX Patches folder. What we're going to do is scroll, we're going to click on these, we're going to drag these folders into the Practice folders here, like such. And there you go. We have all the files we need for the Super Mario Odyssey practice mod on our SD card. Now what we need to do is install the application that needs to load these mods. So open up this GitHub link that has the application. So go to releases again and click on simplemodmanager.nro and open that file, and then drag it and then open up the FTP server like such, and open up the switch folder on the SD card and drag SimpleMod Manager into that folder. Once it's finished dragging, you are free to disconnect from the server and additionally disconnect from the FTP client on the switch, and there you go. Now that we have the mods and everything else dragged on, we are ready for the final step in actually installing the practice mod. The final step in launching and enabling the SMO practice mod is to actually install the mod onto the game itself. To do this, we're going to be going back into the album and going to open up the application Simple Mod Manager, which we dragged earlier thanks to the help of FTPD. Click A to launch on Simple Mod Manager, and click A to install the practice mod. If by any chance you do not want to practice anymore and actually want to disable the practice mod, all you have to do is press the X button and then click A to disable the practice mod, as such. If you do everything correctly, you should have the practice as active. The reason why it was active before is that I already enabled the practice mod before, but now that it's active, we can go back to the home menu and launch Super Mario Odyssey. And we can launch the practice mod as such. Once you're already in the Super Mario Odyssey game, you're going to be scrolling down to options, go to controls, and here you're going to make sure that open map controls are off. Otherwise, the practice mod will not be working as expected. And another thing you want to make sure is you want to have a file that has been passed Cascade. So, for example, file in Sand Kingdom or Wooded Kingdom will work. So now that we launched the file, or whatever file we have, we're going to see as soon as we skip like the intro cutscene, we'll have the practice mod on the left side. So this mod is actually very useful, like such, and there you go. That's how you get the SMO practice mod installed on the actual Switch itself. Now that you have set up the practice mod, we can finally use it to our advantage. You will be using the D-pad buttons to be navigating through the mod menus and options, and use the right D-pad to validate or change the choice of an option. To enable or disable the practice mod, hold the left shoulder button and D-pad left. To lock the practice mod, hold the left shoulder button and hit the D-pad right button. Locking the practice mod allows you to enable the option for Mario to save his positions, load his position, as well as reload the current scene. The next tab we will be going over is the Options tab. These options should be enabled by default, but if they aren't, then use the D-pad left and right buttons to enable them. Important options that are enabled once you load up the practice mod are the teleport option, which allows you to save position and teleport to position for Mario, the moon refresh option, which allows you to get an already taken moon which is not taken in the save, a gray moon refresh, which allows you to get an already taken moon which is taken in the save, always enable warps, allowing you to warp out of boss fights or in the air, disabling autosaving, which will not erase automatically the save when taking a moon, and finally the reload scene option, which just reloads the current scene, usually the current kingdom. The third tab that will be displayed is the Stage Loader tab. This menu allows you to warp to any kingdom or sub-area in the entire game, as well as set the scenario for what state you want the kingdom to be in. This is useful for practicing longer categories. Here is the list of kingdoms that explain which each stage and each kingdom refer to in the menu. Any other stages are sub-areas of each kingdom. Feel free to experiment and see which area is which. There are many more options that are in the practice mod, but for now these are the three main tabs you will have to utilize for practicing this game. Be careful, however, as generally, story moons provoke bugs. For example, in Bowser's Kingdom, upon collecting the boss fight story moon, the bridge does not deploy and the gates do not open anymore. Be wary of these type of bugs when loading up a new file when playing the SMO practice mod. That's all you need to know about utilizing the Super Mario Odyssey practice mod in this video. Thank you so much for watching this video, and hope you found it useful and should help you save a bunch of sanity. I also stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/ghosttsr, so make sure to check it out. And if you have any trouble with setting up the practice mod or the Switch in general, feel free to contact me on Discord at the tag ghosttsr. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and share it with anyone else that may need help with installing the practice mod. See you later, and happy practicing.